First loss, now picked up a win. He's at 10-1. This is a pair down for him. Roy Yang is on a 9-2. Girdner on 6 cards here.
And this has sort of been the most fun story, I would say, of the tournament thus far. This mono green aggro deck at 10-1. We have him on camera the first round of day 2 here. That's where he picked up his lone loss, but otherwise unblemished this tournament.
Yeah, not the deck I expected to see at 9-0 for sure. If you gave me 10 guesses, I wouldn't have gotten it. Starts out with turn 1 Elvish Mystic on the play. Roy will play a Temple of Abandon. And the speed of Steven's deck, I think, can capitalize on the fact that Roy has built a slower red-green style deck. You see cards like Mastery of the Unseen in Roy's hand. I don't expect that to come up.
Well, Mastery of the Unseen and Elspeth are much the same story. If Roy's able to stabilize the game, those cards are capable of winning on their own. But they are very slow. Mastery of the Unseen requires a lot of investment, and if Steven's cranking out 3 toughness or greater creatures, it can only do so much work. And Elspeth is 6 mana. So if those cards are good for Roy, it's a sign that he's stabilized the game in some other fashion. But he can definitely fall behind.
And what a suspicious play here from Steven. Turn 2, plays a forest, no swing of Elvish Mystic, say go. I mean, it's Boon Satyr.
It's not actually suspicious because
you're just saying I'm just playing Boon Satyr.
It only means one thing.
It gets around cards like Roast, though, so I do like the line.
Yeah, no reason to rush it out there, you know?
Suppose if your opponent, no, I was gonna say if he's on Teamer and then he counters it, but no, that doesn't.
No.
Nope. Sylvan Carry added the turn 2 play for Roy Yang.
Very important for Roy to have this card on the draw.
And this is Boon Satyr. If you look at Steven's hand, though, there's a lot. He packs quite a lot of punches. Reverend Hunter in his hand now with a lot of green mana symbols in play. Stands to be a pretty good card.
I mean, I think he's got one of his best curves here, which is Boon Satyr and a Surrak.
All right, Surrak. And now, all right, that's 8 powers. Now Surrak and Boon Satyr will both jump into the red zone. That's 9 damage coming across. Roy, he can't block here, so he'll go down to 10.
Steven bringing some heat already. Mastery Unseen looking a little slow for this game right now. Got some work to do on the board before we can really get to that.
This has been my favorite Surrak deck, I think, that I've seen to this point.
The mana acceleration is just so reliable. Part of the problem with Surrak and other decks, you know, you look at it in red-green style decks. We saw it in Obzon Agro. Brad Nelson's team played it at the recent Pro Tour. When you have lands that come into play tapped, you can't always curve out efficiently in terms of getting the creatures into play and then having Surrak on time and ready to go. And Steven has no such trouble.
If you play all forests, your lands, then your lands will come into play untapped. Ashcloud Phoenix is the play for Roy. He ramps into it with Sylvan Carry added.
I think if Steven has Reverend Hunter in hand, this is just lethal.
Yeah, it does get haste. Remember, Surrak will give something else haste. I mean, to be fair, there's for sure 5 damage coming across. Any 4-power creature here from Steven is lethal.
Very good chance. Steven just has a turn 4 kill here off of a mulligan to 6.
Through a blocker, sure. It's going to be Reverend Hunter. Well, it counts some motion. That's 6. That's a 7/7.
Ooh, lally.
7/7 for 3 with haste thanks to Surrak. And here comes the team. That's going to be lethal. He
doesn't even need to send in the Mystic.
Nope. Game 1 over to Steven.
All right.
I like it. If you don't send the Mystic, then you get him exactly to 0.
Exactly the same reaction that Steven's opponent had in round 9 when Steven won game 1 in pretty convincing fashion. It's just a nod in the head of like, okay, this is a real thing. Like,
okay. Yeah, pause. Okay. All right, let's sideboard. You see a little bit of a grim, you're like, huh? That happened. All right. And I mean, at this point, to be fair, if Steven was the only 9-0 player, when you get this late in the tournament, players sit next to each other enough times that the surprise factor of mono green may be gone at this point. He may have seen, you know, you hang out on the top table, you start seeing, hey, you start hearing whispers, there's this Reverend Hunter guy who's 9-0.
That's likely, although Roy has 2 losses, so it's possible he's actually been kind of far away from Steven for the duration of the tournament, or for a lot of it, because Steven was undefeated until round 10. But there have been some rumblings around the tournament hall about this mono green deck, and you just got to see it on display there. Turn 4 kill, off of mulligan to 6, through a blocker.
All right, well, if you're wondering about the pins on our jackets, we're telling you those are part of our StarCityGames.com creature collection. These do coincide with the game night pins as well. But the creature collection, we now have our spring of 2015 collection ready to preview. These are the ones that we have our Star City game night pins. So these are the creatures. You see the kitten, the bee, and the bunny. These are available on sleeves, playmats, and dice bags. Adorable here. And every season we debut another part of our parody series. And this one is going to be the Delver of Squeakrits over there on the playmat. See, Holding that cheese very lovingly.
A lot of cool little parodies going on that playmat. It is not double-sided, for those of you who have asked. All of these items are available at StarCityGames.com/creature collection, or you can just head over to the dealer booth at any Open or Grand Prix that we're vending at.
I never thought to ask that. Yeah, if it's a double-sided playmat.
Yeah, there's some logistical hurdles with the double-sided playmat. It also gets really dirty.
I don't think that would. How would that work? You would have to have. Then both sides would be grippy.
And you would
that
also
would be awful to play on.
You'd also have to flip it mid-match sometimes, assuming that you wanted to flip it under certain game states. So it's just not a good thing to do. But it's been asked.
What would he flip into? A insect?
An
insect rodent?
Someone had a good pun about this a couple weeks ago when this question came up, but I don't remember it. In any event, StarCityGames.com/creature collection. You can get your items today.
Come up with 2 puns. I don't have wordplay on insectile aberration. That one's harder than.
Someone had a good one. Someone last week or 2 weeks ago tweeted a good one at me. So
all right,
they're out there.
Tweet a good one. What would he flip into? I want to see some answers. Could flip into the cheese. Thank you. Into the cheese stands alone. Yep.
Yeah, sure.
That would work.
Great art.
Our lovely producer just throwing that one up there for us.
Great art. So moving on the sideboard here, Roy, who will be on the play here, playing Naya mid-range, 2 copies of Outpost Siege, 2 copies of Roast, 2 copies of Anger of the Gods, 2 copies of Arc Lightning, a Hornet Nest, a Nissa Worldwaker, an Arbor Colossus, a Hidden Dragon Slayer, a Dromoka's Command, a Dragon Lord Dromoka, and Ugin the Spear Dragon. Great options here. I like Roast a lot in the matchup, Anger of the Gods, Arc Lightning, the Hornet Nest. I think Arbor Colossus is just a good sturdy blocker. It's very big. Obviously, the Flying Claw is not really going to come up against Mono Green, but I think it's just so big. Hidden Dragon Slayer is a very nice option. I think Dromoka's Command and Dragon Lord Dromoka can come in here. Roy's got great options to bring to the table.
I mean, that match to me had flashbacks. If you remember back at the Season 2 almost a year ago, our Season 2 Invitational, champion was Tom Ross, and playing a match, I remember playing Boss Sly against red-green monsters, a really similar deck, a red-green Caryatid deck. Just thinking, the red-green player's on the draw, plays turn 1 Temple, turn 2 Caryatid, untaps, and is dead. He says, okay, this feels like the same thing where I almost you want to support anything that costs 3 or less. I mean, you need to play your spells before you die.
Removal is really important too. Sorok ran amok in that game in large part because Roy couldn't kill anything, and that's where Sorok's just going to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, you feel like he needs Wild Slashes. I mean, he doesn't have them, but a Wild Slash on that Boon Satyr changes the entirety of the game.
Yeah. On the other side, Steven, 2 copies of Back to Nature, a Reclamation Sage, 2 Gather Courage, a Feed the Clan, 2 Nylea's Disciple, a Hunt the Hunter, 3 copies of Ranger's Guile, 3 copies of Mistcutter Hydra. I think the 1 Hunt the Hunter and the 2 copies of Gather Courage should be excellent in this matchup. Roy's got some green creatures, and he's about attacking and blocking. Gather Courage is really powerful in those kind of games.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really like Gather Courage here even more than Ranger's Guile because of it pumps for an extra one. It can be cast off any creature. And what Roy's going to try to win with is going to be just early removal, things like Arc Lightning. If Steven catches him with a Gather Courage, that's going to blank any most removal spells that Roy can throw out.
Also allows him to attack pretty liberally into Sylvan Caryatid. Cards like Thunderbreak Regent, because Steven's got a variety of 2/2s and 3/3s, so just lines up very nicely against Roy, who's going to be compelled to block in a lot of spots, and Gather Courage is just super efficient.
Well, Roy's going to need to win both these post-board games. The one on the play is going to be the easier one, so we start on that one. Roy has a Temple, and he has the first creature this game. Once again, it's a turn 2 Caryatid, but when you're on the play and your opponent doesn't have a turn 1 Elvish Mystic, this looks a lot better.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is the type of game where Roy, if he has Elspeth, he's going to be likely to be able to get to it if he makes his land drops. He's not going to die that fast.
So yeah, Steven, no turn 1 mana accelerant. Now, remember when you look at 1-drops, Girdner has the 4 Elvish Mystics and 2 copies of Servant of the Scale, otherwise does not have any plays on 1. There are 2 copies of Nykthos in his hand.
Only plays the 2 copies. Does not have a ton of mana sinks in his deck.
Avatar of the Resolute. This is the play for Steven. Actually a quite powerful card. We haven't seen it much in Standard, mainly because a green 3/2 is asking a lot of a deck, but this guy packs a punch.
It's a powerful card with a high deck building cost. So is the cost worth it?
3/2 reach and trample, and he gets counters when
when
he comes into play, he can be bigger.
This creature is way above the curve. I mean, this is a great deal on turn 2, and later on in the game with certain Megamorph creatures or some of his other threats like Servant of the Scale, for example, could be even better.
So over for Roy, his turn 3 play was a Thunderbreak Regent. That will match up very nicely against Avatar of the Resolute. And maybe in the face of no kill spells, Roy will just have to race Steven. See if he can pull it off.
This has been the vulnerability we've seen of Steven's deck so far. It doesn't really kill stuff, so it plays very poorly when it's behind. I mean, all he can do is play creatures and mash with them, basically. So,
Death Mist Raptor is going to be play for Steven as he'll pass back. One thing that he does have going for him, though, is he has 4 green mana symbols in play along with a copy of Nykthos. So maybe he can pull ahead in the race just by playing cards faster than Roy.
correct. That is a route, but that's his only route.
It's his own, right.
Is the problem.
A well-timed kill spell here from Roy could do a lot of damage. And it looks like Roy opting not to race. He's going to go ahead and say no attacks, pass back. Certainly if he has a card like Elspeth or some trump in his hand, he's going to want to sit back.
Yeah. He does not have a great block right now against the Death Mist Raptor because it has Death Touch, but if he's looking to hang back for something like Elspeth, it's fine to play a little bit of defense.
All right, Nykthos is the land for Steven. He'll tap it into Forest to make Sirach the Hunt Caller. It'll give itself haste, and the whole team will come in.
Oh.
Even the Avatar. That's the one if you're Roy. That's the concerning thing is that Avatar swung as well.
Yeah, I mean,
the other ones make sense.
He's saying, yeah, you can kill this and take 8.
Maybe take 8. There could be a there are some good I mean, how good would Aspect of Hydra be right now? Remember, Steven plays 4. That's a 1 mana for +6/+6. That's not even reasonable.
And I believe that Roy is sitting on Dromoka's command, and if that's the case, if Steven has something like Aspect of Hydra or Ranger's Guile, this could be disastrous for Roy, even having a big blocker and a card like Dromoka's command.
Remember that Avatar of the Resolute does have Trample. So if Steven were to go for that block, and I mean, if Aspect of Hydra comes in, that could do a lot. So Thunderbreak Regent will block Sirach, and he's going to try to put a counter on the Regent and fight away the Avatar. No, Regent will fight Avatar and counter will go on Caryatid.
Yeah, so this is an effort from Roy to use the Thunderbreak Regent and Dromoka's command to trade with 2 threads.
And here's the Aspect of Hydra, and this is just a... And Roy just... hand on forehead. This is +6/+6 for 1. It's Become Immense without the delve.
Roy's doing a little bit of math here. It's not good, is the short of it. It's not good.
At all. Oh, so he's going to take 6, 12. He's going to go to 8. That's going to cost him the game.
Depending on what's in Steven's hand, it's possible even Elspeth next turn is not good enough for Roy. I mean, Steven can kill him through Elspeth from here in a variety of fashions. I mean,
and to be fair, I think Roy did have a play that could have helped him there if he put Regent in front of Avatar and just kind of like taken the 8 and then said, I'm going to kill your guy. Then if Steven goes for the Aspect, then you can Dromoka's command in response.
Yeah, I don't know if something like Avatar of Hydra was just on Roy's radar. If that was the card he was worried about, he had better blocks afforded to him.
So back over, plays another Regent, passes. Back over to Steven. He's going to Nykthos now for 6 mana. He has a second Nykthos too. And he can bestow Boon Satyr. This is just... So I think if he wants to bestow Boon Satyr, it's in his best interest to just do everything right now. Just can make mana, play Nykthos, make mana, bestow Boon Satyr, cast Become Immense. Pump 10 points of pump spells. He has 6 green floating at the moment, though. 1 green floating, he'll bestow the Boon Satyr onto Avatar. Now, doing it this way, he'll get more green mana symbols for his second Nykthos. And that's going to happen. He still has 1 green floating. All right, now we'll make 8. Become Immense the Trampler. So this is a 3-2, let's add this up. 7, 4, 13, 10 Trampler.
Yep. This is simply delightful.
Valorous Stance could save him. That's it.
Valorous Stance is, I mean, it's very good for Roy if he has it, but it's not like Steven loses the game. He's still got a super advanced board. And
yeah, it's a 13-10. Trample, reach. I mean, I don't know if Roy realizes it has trample. I mean, he's definitely dead if he has nothing.
It's very weird to have 2 keywords on a creature, one of which is explicitly defensive and one of which is explicitly offensive. It's a little strange, so.
They're both explicitly green, though. That's for sure. And Steven Girdner 2-0 defeats Roy Yang.
Well, I think we'll have time to get to a backup feature match.
Oh, that's...
I mean,
jeez.
Roy's draws were fine.